This is the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jackson Neill, here for episode number 101. Today I'm going to be talking with John eBay about some of his latest singles and upcoming plans. But first, I just want to remind everyone that this podcast is available on all of your favorite platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and SoundCloud. It is also available on JacksonNeillPodcasts.com, the home for all the podcasts I publish. So my interview with John today covers a lot of stuff, including his latest tracks, including the latest one, Sun Up, as well as some other stuff he released last year. His just a lot of output. I talked to him about that, why he releases so many tracks, and just everything he's working on right now and he has coming up. It was a really fun conversation here with John. Can you tell me a little bit about your latest track, Sun Up?
Sun Up was just something I kind of just wanted to put out. Just for the fun of it. A little more fun record, you know. Mm-hmm. A little more flexing on it, a little more having fun. Just kind of throw away, not nothing too big.
Gotcha. Why do you want to put something out?
I just hadn't put out in a while. I thought it was just time to just let something go. Mm-hmm. You know, just let something go. But some more new music coming. It's gonna take a little time with it, but more new music is coming.
Definitely. Before we jump into the new music, I just want to kind of go back to 2018 because you had several singles last year. Can you tell me a little bit about why you released those specific songs last year?
Really, it was just kind of a thing, like, just got to get the music out. You know, I have a fan base, so I know they're just kind of waiting, so I just try to throw something out while I'm just getting everything together myself, you know, to come back strong.
Mm-hmm. How often do you think you need to put out music for your fan base?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like not how often, it's just quality, you know. I think it's just the better you put out, the less you have to put out, or, you know, the less, you know, it's just not nothing. It's just depending on what you're putting out. I mean, some guys like putting out 30 tracks. Some guys like putting out 2 every 9 years, and, you know, things like that. It just ranges.
Mm-hmm. It's about kind of developing what you think is a steady amount of tracks for the type of music you put out.
My kind of music is kind of a little more thought out. So, I mean, not too much. Maybe a project every 2 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you do a project about every 2 years, you know, one of your last projects came in 2016. You said, you know, you're working on new music. What are you currently working on?
I've been working on, you know, a bunch of new music. Actually, I have like over 200 songs just in the vault. Just, you know, creating a real plan to like roll it out and everything. You know. Mm-hmm. Trees drop in the forest every day. Nobody hears them.
Good point.
Did they really fall?
Exactly. So 200 songs. I mean, that's a ton of music. I guess what has been your inspiration recently in order to produce and crank out that many tracks?
It's just been the things I've been going through lately. I mean, day to day, you know, living in California is kind of like a rush, a real like. Kind of thing. It's kind of like out here, it's kind of crazy, kind of hectic, you know, but at the same time it feels like a vacation, so it gives you that perfect mix between work and play, and I like it, you know. Some days I wake up, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just get to writing, I'm like, yeah, this record's perfect, let's get straight to it, like just go to the studio and just put it out. Other days I'm like, let's record and let's not drop this, but let's just record, or let's just go and just, you know, getting the vibe. Like a lot of artists, they go to the studio thinking we have to get a finished product. I don't do that. So, I mean, yeah.
How do you think that not having the pressure to get a finished product, how do you think that helps you?
A lot. I mean, a lot of people do things for other people. I mean, you just got to realize in this world, this shit is for you. Like, you know, I can't stop the blessings that he himself gave me. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, you mentioned living in California is kind of like perfect mix between work and play, almost like living in a vacation. So would you say like this new music you're working on, is it kind of like, you said Sun Up is kind of like a flexing record. Does this new music kind of have that same kind of, I guess, kind of playful or more upbeat, more sunny, I'm picturing sunny Los Angeles or sunny California vibes to it?
Not all of it is just all upbeat, Some days I'm feeling like, living out here, like I said, some days you just start feeling like, me as like, a young black kid, like, am I supposed to make it out? I'm not really supposed to make it out. So some of the music is, kind of a little bit more of a music with a message. Some of it is kind of more fun. Some of it is kind of just me talking about I'm going through with a lady. It really just depends on what it is, There's 12 months in a year, a bunch of different feelings, a bunch of different days. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you try to kind of balance, the difference between, sometimes doing the more upbeat, positive songs between doing other songs that might have a deeper message to it?
Timing, I don't really go based off, like a lot of artists kind of go based off of what's hot, what's this, what's that. I kind of just go based off of me, like, like what I'm going through, and I kind of, like, a lot of artists, they try to reach, like, the biggest fan base possible. I do, but I feel like you should do that in a sense, being yourself, like, what comes is what comes. But I know this is me. It's so real that it's me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. When I listen to your music, I can definitely kind of hear that, where nothing sounds forced or nothing sounds fake. It's all music that I can definitely tell is inspired by who you like really are as a person.
300%, man. I wouldn't want it to be, any other way than that.
Mm-hmm. So with these 200 tracks you have, recently released, obviously that's a ton of music. Are you thinking that there is another project somewhere in all those tracks?
Possibly. I'm a kind of guy, like I said, a lot of artists go about work way different. They do the work and they just think, let's put it out, let's pump this out, let's just, and I'm like a guy where it's like, that's not for me. Like, I don't just put out, but kudos to kudos, them is them,
Mm-hmm.
So that's really my balance. I kind of just weave through tracks, and if I make 10 of them, probably 2 of them are getting put out.
Yeah, so you're one of those artists that kind of likes to, I'm already hearing it, likes to record a lot of tracks, then, okay, take those large number of tracks, let's narrow it down to a smaller track list. Yeah, that's pretty much me, man. Mm-hmm. So when you go to try to narrow those tracks down to a track list, what are you usually looking for in order to decide what songs make the project?
It just really comes down to, like, what the mood is for me. And it sounds real cliche and it sounds repetitive, but like for example, now is lately 2019. I've been seeing how fast things are going. I kind of just see the way the media moves, and I think a lot of people and they're focusing on a lot of things. So, my album lately that I've been working on, it's called GN, and it stands for Good Intentions Are Never Enough, because I feel like you can be trying to do something, but the try doesn't matter. It's either get it done or not.
Mm-hmm. So can you go in a little bit more to that title, I guess, like what, or that idea behind this project? Why did you settle on this?
Because I just started seeing in life mishaps and things like miscommunications with certain people and just the way things happen. It's like, it'll be like you're trying. One thing I've learned in life is you might as well just be yourself. Because the reason I called it Good Intentions Are Never Enough is because there's been times I've intended for that bad thing not to happen, and it still does. Mm-hmm. That bad thing still happens. So it's like, you might as well have to spin yourself from the beginning, or you might as well just did what you didn't want to do from the beginning, because that was probably always, even if it played that way, you would have still been better off, you know? So I'm saying good intent it's never enough, and it never will be, so.
Gotcha. How did you, when did you decide that was going to be the direction you took this project in?
I just started seeing how, you know, when things hit the wall, things go left, right, people pick and choose. When this happened, just even in my own life, just like decisions you have to make, you know, that gets very difficult. But you have to make them, you know. It's not up to nobody else. He's telling you, you have to make them. So, I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you're completely responsible. There's no one else you can pass blame on to. It's all on you.
It's all on you, yeah. You know, like in a lot of situations, a lot of people look left and look right, but nah, if somebody were to come, they're like, I mean, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the intentions of you looking left and no, it's going to come down to you. A lot of people think that's cliche, but it'll just hit people later.
You know, you're working on this project. You have this kind of idea for it. I guess, what's your next step as of right now? What are you looking forward to right now?
The next step is just preparation, man. I feel like there's a time for everything, man. And for me right now, it's just not my time. That's just what it is. It's just not my time to just be throwing out tracks and just putting out songs and just, you know, I'm just not that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. I think the next step for me is preparation, like, for a time when it is your time. But, you know, a lot of guys, I always tell guys, because, you know, we have this saying, you know, I say it a lot of times with all my homies, we say guys are truly guys. And what we mean by guys are truly guys is that they just really do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, with a lot of artists, they don't really realize, like, people beg for the opportunity so much, you know. They do. They beg for the opportunity, and this is with everything, you know. I say, if I get this, I'm going to be successful. If I do this, I'll do this. And I'm like, okay. But when that thing gets given to them, they're still not successful. So who is it on then? You know, who's it on then? You got what you needed. You got this. You got that. So.
Yeah. Then it becomes, if you ask for what you want and you finally get it, then and you don't follow through, then it's obviously, you know, on that person for not able to follow through on their word, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You see, and that's kind of the mindset on everything for me. Like, so I'm saying, like, he himself told me, like, and by the way, when I say he, I'm very religious. So I mean God. Mm-hmm. He tells me, like, don't worry, the opportunity will come. If you see just even now how God in 24 hours can go from nothing to being the biggest artist in the world in just 24 hours. Yeah, maybe not literally 24 hours, but you see how quick, like, a guy, like, you know, I'm not going to say nobody's name, but we see how guys just come and they be number one on the Billboard and then. So God's already saying, don't worry about the opportunity. The opportunity is there. Mm-hmm. The way there's systems and everything to get you in place. You just make sure your craft and your art and everything you're doing is up to par so you can be good forever. And that's where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like a very, like, solid spot to be at, where you're kind of, you know, you're respecting that you need to take some time and really, you know, perfect what you're doing.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I don't, then who will? Exactly. You know, I just seen, like, I kind of pulled myself out the game before I could even, like, I seen when I was buzzing up a little, you know. Like, when I signed the deal and everything, I was just buzzing up, and I'm like, oh, this is how this industry really goes, and people don't really know. Boom, I pulled myself out before I could even try to, you know, because I was just seeing, like, you really are in control. And if you don't take control, then you're out of there. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's difficult as an artist, but you got to do it in order to be successful long term. Is in order to take that time to build a more stable fan base or a more, stable set of skills to the fact that, if you do ever get that opportunity to get to be, number one on the charts, is that that's not a wasted opportunity, that you've prepared, like you said, you've prepared yourself to be and take full advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not the kind of guy to blame others. Just look at others, question why others. It really comes down to you,
Exactly. So I just kind of have like one more last question for you. You have this upcoming project you're working on. You have all these songs. You're still kind of figuring out the timing of it all. But I guess just what is your mindset like? How are you feeling heading into the rest of 2019?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm good. Like, I just know, like, it'll get to where I want it to get. And when it gets there, like, yeah, that's when it's time. Mm-hmm. I think that in any kind of thing, is the most important kind of thing. Like, people don't realize, like, and that's for any kind of business. That is always the most important thing. Like, what is being sold to the consumer? Like, what is being put out? A lot of guys, it's just real cliche, and a lot of guys really say it. They really be like, oh, I want to be, rich. I want to make money. I want to do this. I want to do that. But if we just ask, what exactly are like people doing to get to that? You see it, like it just comes down to way so much more stuff we could just go on and on and on about. But I'm not even, trying to touch those kind of bases. But you kind of can get where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview, John.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Well, another big thank you goes out to John for coming on to the podcast. Really enjoyed my chance getting to talk with him. His records, really enjoying those, both from last year and the one so far this year. I'm excited to see what he does coming up. And if you want to keep up to date with him, make sure you go down into the show notes. There I have links to his music so you can check out his records and listen for yourself. And that will wrap it up for this episode of the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast on your favorite platforms, as that does a lot to help grow the show. Remember, new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. For more episodes, go down into the show notes and visit the link to jacksonneillpodcasts.com. There you'll find all of the episodes to this podcast, as well as the Jackson Neill music and sports podcasts. New episodes of the music podcast on Sundays, with the sports podcast coming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're a big fan of the show, maybe consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. For just a couple dollars a month, you can get access to bonus content from my interviews here on Anything Goes. On Patreon, you also get access to bonus segments from both my sports and music podcasts. I write, record, and produce these podcasts myself as a full-time college student, so any little bit of support really does go a long way. Link to Patreon down in the show notes. If you want to stay up to date on everything I'm doing, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JacksonNeill20. Today's music is by Analog by Nature with their song CDK Sunday. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you all next time.